Well, I guess just for full context and disclosure for those who do not know, at 17 and a half years old, I got the offer from Team Liquid originally to play for TLA, and the requirement was that I had to drop out of high school and move all the way out to California to fully commit. I would be the next in line, essentially, to play jungle for the LCS team. And in that situation, I just grinded my heart out, kind of just kept my head down, nobody knew who I was, slowly climbed up the ladder, got recognized, got my first scrims in. That's when I first kind of stepped into the limelight. You know, I was just that kid in the background in school. Like, I didn't really mess with anybody, I didn't really talk to anybody, I had a close group of friends, but most of the time my interests were outside of school, so I really didn't have any responsibilities as a kid. I never had a real job. I was really just so interested in League of Legends that it kind of consumed my life, and I just had to make something positive out of it in California, which I did. Due to how I was conditioned back then, where I was just kind of fighting with everything I had to make the league thing work, when things would get me off the path of where I wanted to be, which was in LCS or in NACS, I could not handle it. Like, as a young kid, I could not handle it, and several times coaching staff would come and talk to me and be like, these people don't want to play with you.
Massacre's looking for it. He's not going to fight it in time. The Nexus goes down. Liquid Academy are in the Challenger Series.
Just to look back and think of my closest friends, you know, Zig and Young Bin, where they genuinely were just like, we don't want to play with Dardoch anymore. I never want to be the one that's like, I'm rude and I'm awful and I'm just the worst fucking teammate to you guys, but you have to use me because I'm that skilled. And I would rather be a useless, worthless talent that would really just have a second opinion as a sub than be the star player on a team of a roster who doesn't like me.
TL, they are going to secure their spot going to Vegas here, 3-0 over Energy. Just incredible performance.
You know, I have the instinct in me to try and be perfect at everything I do in the game and as a leader or just with my teammates in general. So whenever I see an error, no matter how big or small, I'll try and bring it up so that, you know, everyone can just be improving at everything they can at all times. I wouldn't really let people get words in or, you know, speak their opinion or even like reply to what I had to say. It was just like, I want you to do this, and if you don't, there's going to be a problem. That's the worst way for a leader to go about speaking with his teammates or speaking to his colleagues or just speaking with people in general. Switching team atmospheres so frequently kind of opened my eyes to realize, like, you're not really that big of a deal. Like, you've only been playing for a year. You don't know everything. On Immortals, when, you know, we failed to make playoffs, and my, you know, probably my best individual split yet, where I had the most player of the games and I was this outstanding performer in the jungle. I remember like watching my fate like kind of unravel in my eyes, because it was like, we played our last game of the season and it was like, if we won, we'd go to playoffs. If we lost, we'd have to wait to see the result of another game. So I was like, oh wow, we can actually win, but I wasn't feeling like genuinely excited or happy to continue. It was at the point where I had damaged my relationships with my teammates so much that even if we went into postseason, it was like we would be the same exact team we were. And then, you know, a year later when I was then kicked off CLG and I had to play in relegations a week later, you know, Immortals versus CLG are playing in semifinals of playoffs and I'm sitting at home like a jackass, ruined on both teams. So like when I see CLG in semifinals with Omar God or Immortals there with Xmithie, it's just a really shitty feeling, and it makes me realize like what my actions are really doing to my life, because I go from being on my first split with TL to being in the semifinals in the third, fourth place match at Vegas, and then it's just gone straight downwards for me ever since. It has to get to a point where, like, you know, there's a common denominator in all these teams. In 2018 spring will be extremely important to me, just as every other season is, just in terms of I want to showcase that I'm just a top level talent in my own respect, but also I want people to obviously see in me that I'm happy with my teammates and my teammates are happy with me, and that we are, yeah, just happier on this team. I've changed what I view as right and wrong slowly but surely for these past 2 years in terms of how I speak with people and things like that. I would just like you guys to see me as this person I want to become, which is just a respectable, honest person who just does his best in every regard of his life. Sorry to everybody that I've caused emotional pain to or mental strain. Sorry for making so many coaches stressed about me and what the team's going to do the next day in practice because I can't act right. Being such a shithead, I guess, is just for lack of a better word. Extra appreciation to the people who have supported me genuinely throughout all these times. I know for a fact how impossible it is to support someone like me, especially through all these rough stages in my life where it really just seems like I'm fighting against myself, truly. With all the things I do, it really just seems like I'm trying to dig my hole deeper, but honestly and genuinely, I've learned so much over my last 2 years as a professional player and as a human, and I just really want to start fresh with an open mind and hopefully right the wrongs that I have for the last 2 years and just kind of start over, and we're going to do big things in 2018, 2019.